something, but I've failed. I don't know how to do it. So yes, as I was saying, we're looking at ether geometry. Now, at Cashpod, we make sure that things are simple and straightforward in order for you to easily remember what is required of you in the exam. And so when you look at earth geometry, this is not biology where they'll ask you about the definition, but for the sake of those, it's just simply a topic which is dealing with the measurements of the water, the surface of the earth. And where we're going to be measuring the distance, we're going to be measuring time, and all those things that are coming into place. Now, since they will not ask you about the definition, what I need you to understand is that always when we're dealing with earth geometry, we'll be dealing with the surface of the water, the earth. And in short, we'll be dealing with this circle that most of us have seen in papers. That is the earth surface, and which is simply that shape that I've drawn there. Now, what is important of you to know are the lines that are found on the surface of the water, the earth. So this earth is simply made up of two lines, which is simply the lines of latitudes as well as the lines of longitudes. Now, I'll make it very simple for you to easily remember which ones are the latitudes and which ones are the longitude, especially for the grade 10s. So when you look at this surface of the earth, the lines that will be running from the west to east, we call them latitudes. The ones from north to south, we call them the longitude. Now, I know it is confusing just like that, especially if you're in grade 10. So here's the simple method you can remember which one is the latitude. So I'll begin by the latitudes. So when you look at this surface of the earth, the latitudes are the lines that are coming from the west going to east. And so these lines that are going like this are called the water latitude. So the lines of latitude are the lines that are running from the west going to the east. And when you look at this figure that I've drawn here, this small line that is dividing the earth into two equal parts, we call it as the equator. And so the equator is the first line that I've drawn there, and it is dividing the surface of the earth into two equal parts. And then apart from that, what degree is it in? It is simply at what? 0 degrees. It doesn't have north or south or east or west. It's just 0 degrees. And what is that line? We call it the water, the equator. So the equator is simply a line of latitude that runs from west to east. Apart from that, it cuts the earth into two equal parts. So what do we mean? When we look at this topic, earth geometry, all the lines that we're going to find running from this side, going to that side, we're calling them as latitudes. Then when it goes like this, because this is the surface of the earth, meaning there's also the back part. So the back lines, we're not going to draw them like that, the grade 10s. The back lines, we're going to draw them in dotted lines. So meaning there's a line that is passing at the back of the earth when the examiner draws those faint dotted lines. And so this line is the same line that has passed there. It's just showing that it is at the back of the earth. This line that I've drawn is a line of latitude. How and why? Because it is running from west going to east. This is the western part. This is the eastern part. This is the western hemisphere. This is the eastern hemisphere. And so all the lines that will be running from this side going to that side are latitudes. This is the front line. Then the one which is at the back will be the front line. So these lines that I've drawn are latitudes. So again, we're saying the first lines that we talk about under earth geometry are simply the lines of latitude. What are those lines of latitude? These are lines that are running from east to west. In simple terms, if you can't remember that, these are just lines that are going like this. So there is one important line that we talk about, which is cutting the earth into two parts. This line is a line of latitude, and we call it the water, the equator. So the equator is a line of latitude which divides or cuts the earth into two equal parts. So meaning, even this line, if I want to draw the back line, it will be just what? Dotted lines. Any questions on the latitudes? Any questions? Is this A level or what? Network. Is it my network or yours? Helen, is it my network or your network? I don't know, maybe the phone is too close here. Take it. This room has got network, the other one does not have network. Next door, it's his network, it's her network, yeah, it's a she. So Helen, they're saying it's your network. Meaning next door has got a network which is working okay. Margaret, thank you very much for being here. My network is fine. Yes, so we proceed. Are there any questions on the lines of latitude? I'm saying the lines of latitude are the lines that are going this way. The first line of latitude is simply the equator, which is dividing the surface of the earth into two equal parts, which is simply the southern part, which is on top, and the southern part, which is at the bottom, and the northern part on top, or northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So the equator is always at 0 degrees. And then we also have other lines of latitudes, which are these that I've drawn here. This line is passing at the back of Earth. This line passing at the back of the Earth. So as long as it is running from west to east, it is a line of latitude. Any questions? Grade 10 quadratic. I don't know the question. The 10 quadratic. I don't get your the thing. So there are no questions. So we proceed. So apart from that, apart from the lines of latitude, we also have the lines of longitude. And so when you talk about the lines of longitudes, these are lines on the surface of the earth which are running from the south or the southern part to running from the north part to the southern part. And southern condition, nothing more. So meaning those lines that are going from the top going to the bottom on this surface, we're calling them as the lines of water longitude. So what do I mean? We have this line and we're saying these are water longitudes. Why? Because the lines that are running from this part going down. Now the first line that I've drawn is this one, which is cutting the earth into west and east. This first line. This one is called the Greenwich Meridian. And the Greenwich Meridian divides the earth into two equal parts. What are those parts? The west and the south. When you see this is divided into half, of this half and this half. This side is the western hemisphere. This side is the southern hemisphere. So this one, which is dividing the earth into two equal parts, we're calling it as the Greenwich or Greenwich Meridian. And so the Greenwich Meridian divides the Earth's surface into two equal parts, which is west and east, and it is in the middle. And then apart from that, this same Greenwich Meridian is also at 0 degrees angle, and so it is having 0 degrees. And we know by now that this same Greenwich Meridian is the one that we use in order for us to calculate time. We'll get into the calculations later. And why? Because this Greenwich Meridian is also referred to as Greenwich Meridian time. So it's the one that we use to calculate time. I'll come and get into this when we continue with the lesson and we come and do calculation of water time. but the Greenwich meridian is used to calculate time, and that is why each country or each hemisphere has got different time zone. And example, in Zambia, by this time, I'm sure it is simply what? 2015. The time is 2015, but when you look at other countries, the US is not having, I'm sure, 2015. And they have a different time zone. Why? Because of the Greenwich meridian. So for now, the grade 10s were saying the Greenwich meridian is this first line that I've drawn, which is running from north to south. And this first line divides the earth into two parts, the west and the south. Again, this same line, the Greenwich meridian, is at 0 degrees. Meaning, if this is a line of longitude, all the lines that are going to be going that way are lines of what? Longitude. So meaning, if we have this line, that is the line of longitude. Why? Because it is running from north coming to south. Again, if we have this line from there coming this side, that is the line of longitude. Why? Because it is running from north coming to south. So again, the lines of longitude, if you can't remember to say they run from north to south, just understand the concept that these are lines that are going like that on the surface of the earth from top to bottom. If you have a small memory capacity like me, and so just say from top to bottom, from north to south, those are longitudes. East to west, those are latitudes. The first line of longitude divides the earth into two parts, which is the west and the east, and this one is called the what? The Greenwich meridian, used to calculate time. Then we also have the line of latitude, which is dividing the earth into two parts, which is simply the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. When we look at this line, it is in the middle. So we have north on top, which is northern hemisphere, and southern hemisphere. We call that line as the what? The equator. It is also at what? 0 degrees. And any questions just there? Ice Spice, the guy. Ice Spice, the guy is saying I don't know, but yeah. Vincent, thank you very much for the follow. And Ice Spice guy, thank you very much for the follow. No questions, no. It's clear. 2 more people to just say no questions. So Helen and Martha are saying no questions, meaning it is clear. Thank you, madam. You're welcome. You're welcome, Gerard. Clear. What lines? What are lines of What are lines of latitude? So the lines of latitude are lines that are running from east to west. So meaning all these lines that are coming from the west going to east are called the lines of latitude. So lines of latitude, to answer your question, are simply lines that run or come from west going to east. This part is, when you look at the surface of the earth, this side is west, this side is east. So all the lines that are going like that are called the latitudes. Another question. Elisha, thank you very much for thinking I'm a good teacher. Lines of longitude. Lines of longitude, we said these are these lines that are running from north coming to south. So all the lines that run from north coming to south are called the lines of longitude. From north to south. North to south. So those are lines of longitude. Any other question? Savior, any other question? Others are saying it is. Okay. This is a real school. I can join online. Thank you very much. I'll be expecting you to join Cash for Tuition Center. Thank you for good effort, madam. 8 points. Can you please show us the Earth rotation axis? So I'll show you the Earth rotation axis as we proceed. I'm having the grade 10s that are paying me, and then I'm taking my topic step by step, baby steps. Fine. So if I skip and I start explaining something else, I'll confuse other people that are just learning Earth geometry today, especially the grade 10s, and others that have learned but they didn't understand. Why is the Greenwich meridian called so? I think I talked about that. But the Earth is according to ancient discovery and Bible. Hey, Anisha, yes. Is according to ancient whatever and Bible whatever. Yes, you're correct. Any other questions? Any other questions apart from religious and biblical discoveries? We are doing something that is going to be asked in the exam. But thank you very much for pointing out that. Yeah. Tell me the answer. What answer? About the Bible and the discovery. So, Martha, we move. Yes, Martha knows we're wasting time. So, we move. So, apart from talking about that, let me just get rid of some parts. Apart from talking about that, we should know that when we are looking at this surface of the Earth, the examiner at the end of the day requires you to know few things. And those few things, we'll take it as baby steps at Cash for Tuition Center so that people will understand. And so we're saying we have the lines of latitudes that we have talked about, and we have the lines of longitudes. So what is the other thing that the examiner requires you to know? It is how to find the difference in either latitudes or the difference in longitudes. And so when finding the difference in longitudes and latitudes, we'll discuss how with baby steps. Again, we also need to know, madam, just continue this answer. Yes, the questions that they're asking will not come in your exam. TR, thank you for pointing that out. That is why I'm just ignoring it. So now we're saying, apart from finding the difference, the examiner also needs you to know how to locate points on the surface of the water, the Earth. So you need to know how to locate points, how to find the difference in those points in terms of longitudes and latitudes. Then also need to know how to calculate the distance and time. And so the first one we'll begin with is simply locating the points. And so when you're talking about locating points, we're just simply finding, is this point on which latitude? Where is it in terms of longitude? That is what we're talking about. So I'll use just points that are in my head, and then we'll use an exam question to deal away with something. So let's say we have a point here, and let's say a point here. I'll just put up point sign, and then I'll explain how to locate points. That's my questions for TikTok. Yeah. There are questions on TikTok. So let's say we have point A, which is this dot, point B, which is that dot, then this may be C, this will be D, this will be E. I'll put up others as we continue. F. Then we have figures that you have been given. So let's say this line of latitude, this one which is running from west coming to east, let's say it is at 40 degrees north. Why? Because it is on the northern part. And let's say this line, so this one is for this line. Let's say this line here is at 80 degrees east. Then this line, this second line, let's say it is at 40 degrees east. This one, let's say, is at 50 degrees west. So I'm just coming up with numbers from my head, but we'll look at an exam question. Let's say this is 15 degrees. So let's say just 20. 20 degrees what? West. And let's say this one is at 60 degrees south. Yeah. So I've just put in numbers. Don't worry, the grade 10s, I'll explain the numbers that I've put in. So the numbers are just indicating specifically the latitude is at which degrees, the longitude is at which degree. And so when you look at this latitude that we had here, so this latitude I've just said, let's say it is at 40 degrees north. And why is it on 40 degrees north? Because it is on the northern part. And for the sake of the grade 10s. So this one is 40 degrees north. And on this latitude, I've put up points. So there is point A, which is this dot here, point B, which is that, and point D, which is that. The other latitude that we have is this equator. The equator is at 0 degrees without north or south. It's just 0 degrees. Then what point have we put here? We have E and C. Then we have the other line of latitude, which is this line here. I've put a number which is 60 degrees south. Why is it south? Because it is at the southern hemisphere. And I've put up a point which is F. Then the other thing in terms of longitude, we have the first longitude, which is this line here, where there is point B, this line, and point F. This one, I've said it is at what? 80 degrees east. Then the other longitude is this line, which I've said it is at 40 degrees east. Why are they east? Because they are on the eastern hemisphere. Then we have the other line of longitude, which is this one, and it is at 50 degrees west. And this other one is at 20 degrees west. Why? Because it is on the western hemisphere. And then I'm trying to explain how we can locate points on the surface of the earth. So let's say the examiner asks you to locate the given points. Locate point A on the surface of the earth. So when locating the points on the surface of the earth, we are using coordinate geometry that our friend mentioned in the comments there, and which is just simply locating the points in terms of latitude and longitude. So meaning when you're picking the points, it will be in terms of the latitude, comma, the longitude. So if I were to locate the point of point A, I'll find on which latitude is it at. Then I'll write the figure, comma, on which longitude is point A at. Then I'll write the figure. So what do we mean? So when you look at point A is this point that we have here, right? This one. So in the exam, if they say locate point A, we'll say A, open bracket, it's on which latitude? This one. And so this latitude is having what? 40 degrees north. So you say 40 degrees and you put north. Don't just say 40 degrees and you end there. You put what? The hemisphere where it is. So it is in the northern hemisphere. That is why we've written 40 degrees north. Comma. Comma what? The latitude. I mean the longitude on which it is on. So when you look at the longitude, it is this line where point A is. This one. That is the longitude. So what number is pointing to this line? It's the number that we'll pick. So of that number, which is what? 40 degrees. So it will be 40 degrees what? East. Meaning of located point A. If you haven't gotten that, let's try point B. Point B, again, also going to locate that in terms of longitude as well as latitude. Always we start with the latitudes and then the longitude. And so we don't start with longitude, comma, latitude. It is latitude, comma, longitude. So let's look at point B. Point B is here. And so it is on what latitude? This line where it is sitting on. is on what? 40 degrees north. So say 40 degrees north, comma. What is the longitude? Look at the line which is running from north to south. So north to south, where is B? It is here, so it is this line. What number is this line having here? It is having what? 80 degrees east. So say 80 degrees east. Cross bracket. Okay. 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 Next, we have located the pointer B. So it is at 40 degrees north, comma, the latitude, which is simply what? 80 degrees east. Now I know this is simple, but this will help you with one, calculating the distance. Why? Because you need to locate the points before you even get into the calculations in order for you to find the theta. And we'll get into that. So meaning you need to understand and grasp the foundation of the topic itself. That is the easiest way you can hammer earth geometry. So the other point that we're going to locate is point E. You tell me point C. People in the comments, point C. So point C is this one. It is on this latitude and this longitude. So what are we going to write? So B 40, comma, yes. TR was correct with that one. What about point C? Point C is on what and what? I want to see if people understand the concept. Point C. This point C, is on what latitude and what longitude? Well, for the first time, I'm getting to understand it. Helen, your network has come back, and I'm glad you're getting to understand. I appreciate that you are understanding. Because in the exam, they won't ask you if the surface of the earth is flat or not. Okay, I don't know the question that the answer is, but people are saying the answer is what? It is on latitude, this line, it is at 0 degrees, that is why they are saying 0 degrees, comma, the longitude, which is this line. So it is at what? 40 degrees what? East. Is that what we wrote? 40 degrees east. Latitude 0, 40 degrees. Yes. Yes. So we proceed from C. Let's look for D. Quickly, people of God. D is this one. Latitude, longitude. D. Yes, Helen, we've answered for C. So now we're at D. D 40,50. Rebecca is saying 40,50. So 40 latitude, 40 degrees north, comma, latitude 50. Yes, 50 degrees west. 40 degrees north, 50 degrees east. Are we sure? Are you sure it's east? This is TR. We're on this one. Point D. So point D, we're saying it is on 40 degrees north. Why? Because this is the latitude where it is sitting on. So write 40 degrees north, which is this 40 degrees north, comma, on which longitude is it on? So it is on this line, this one. And it is having what figure? This one, 50 degrees west. So that is why I've written 50 degrees west. No mistake, it's okay. Yes, it is west. I thought I pressed west. Okay, so the other point is E. This point is on what latitude and what longitude? So I'm saying 35 degrees north and 45 degrees east. This one, E. We're at E. I don't know where the 35 is coming from. But good try. Dumisan, good try. So people are saying 0 So the one who started with 50, remember it is latitude, comma, longitude. So when you look at this point, it is on latitude 0 degrees, then longitude 50. So meaning we're not going to start with the longitude. We write 50 west, comma 0 degrees. That is totally wrong. And so we're starting with the latitude. You said latitude, comma, longitude. So it's here, it's on latitude, this line is at 0 degrees. So 0 degrees, comma, the longitude, which is this line. So it is on longitude what? 50 degrees west. The last one is what? F. F, ladies and gentlemen, 0 degrees 50 west. Yes. So now we're on F. F will be what? F is this point here. It is on what latitude and what longitude? 60 degrees west and 33 degrees north. So 60 degrees south. You said 60 degrees west. It is south. And so this is 60 degrees south, not west. So say 60 degrees south, comma, what longitude is it on? This line here, this one. So which is what? 80 degrees east. Fine. 60 degrees south, 80 degrees east. Yes. So the one who wrote west, Demisan, it was having an error. So now, apart from locating points, I see we are on track with locating points. So what else are you going to be asked? You're also going to be asked to calculate distance. So when you're talking about calculating distance, the examiner will ask you to calculate distance, which is either along the lines of longitude or along the lines of latitude. Now, right now, the only distance that I will talk about and introduce to you is the one where you're calculating points that are on the same longitude. Meaning, these are points that are sitting on the same line that is going like that. Like that. All the points that will be sitting on the same line, the same lines of longitude, is what we'll deal with first. I'll explain the other one as we proceed. So now, if we are having points that are sitting on the same line of longitude, what we are calculating is distance along the great circles. So in the exam, mostly they will not tell you to say calculate distance along the great circles. Sometimes they will say, sometimes they will not. So if they tell you to say calculate distance along the great circle, meaning you're calculating distance of points that are sitting on the same longitude. Example, they'll ask you to calculate point A and point C. This one, A and C, are sitting on the same line. This line. So if they're sitting on the same line, it means it is distance on a great circle. If they tell you to calculate points that are sitting on the same latitude, example, we have point D and point A. They're sitting on this same line here. This one is a small circle. Small circle here. Point A and point D. Even point A and point B, they're on the same latitude, this one. So they're small circle. But if they're sitting on the same longitude like this, these lines, we say great circles. Example, point A and point C are on the same line of longitude, so they are on the great circle. Point B and point F, this point and this point, are sitting on the same line here, so they are on the point of what? Great circle. That is what I'm going to explain now. So now, when you're looking at lines that are sitting on the same longitude, which are calling as great circle, the formula that we're going to be using is simply, remember for F geometry, they don't give you the formula. It's not like trigonometry. So the formula that you're going to use is simply theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R for great circles. I know for small circles it will be theta over 360 times 2 pi, the small letter R, and cos theta. This one is for small circles. We'll talk about it as we continue. And so for now, I want you to draw your attention on this formula. So this formula, you will only use it when you're calculating the distance of points that are sitting on the same water longitude. And when they are sitting on the same longitude, we say it is a great circle. And let's try to use this same one as an example. Then we'll use an example question. So let's say they say calculate the distance of AC. Calculate distance AC. So when you look at AC, A and C, A is here, C is here. These are sitting on the same longitude. So if it is longitude, the same longitude, it is great circle. Our formula is this one. So now what is the first thing that you're going to do? Remember, in the formula itself, this theta is just standing for the difference in what? Latitudes, or the difference in longitudes. And now since we're talking about great circles, at this point, this theta is a difference in what? Latitudes. And a 2 is part of the formula. Pi, we know they can either give you 22 over 7 or 3.142. And then the radius. The Earth has got 2 radius that we're going to be talking about. We have the radius in nautical miles and the radius in kilometers. So again, they'll give you. But if they don't give you, they just say calculate distance in kilometers. So in kilometers, the distance is always at what? 63.70. And then in nautical miles, 34.37. So nautical miles and kilometers, but they will be given in the exam. And now I'm trying to use an example, finding distance AC. So when you look at A and C, these are sitting on the same point, the same longitude, which is simply 40 degrees east. The first thing when calculating the distance, I'll first find the difference in their latitudes. What is the difference in their latitude? Where it is sitting and where it is what? Sitting. So remember, when finding the difference in latitudes, always when the points are seated on the same hemisphere, we are going to what? To subtract them. Example, let's say we have this point A and B, and we're finding we have A and C. So finding the difference in their latitudes. And when you look at point A, it is on 40 degrees north. Point C is just on 0 degrees. So those are different hemispheres to begin with. This one has got no north or whatever. So if there's a difference, we're going to add them. If they're on the same hemisphere, we divide. We subtract. This and F is also on the different hemisphere. So I want to give an example of the one which is on the same latitude. So that the one which is having the same latitude. So let's say anyway, I'll use the same line can. So in short, when we're having the north and the north hemisphere, these points, when they're having the same latitude, we're going to simply subtract them. And again, if you have southern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, they're going to subtract each other. If you have west and west, these are going to subtract each other. East and east, they're going to subtract each other. But if we have north and south, we add them. If we have south and east, we add them. If we had as long as we're having different points, we add them. And then the same one, we subtract them. Now, this was the question that I was formulating from my head. So let's say we have been asked to find A and C. When you look at those, this one has nothing, so meaning it is different from the 40, which is having a north. So what are we going to do? 40 degrees north and this one are different hemisphere, in short. And so if they're different hemisphere, we're going to simply what? Add them. So it will be 40 plus 0. And that is the number that we put on the theta. Then times 2 pi 3.142, then the radius. And so this question that was coming from my head will confuse you. Let's use an exam question. And so let's use an exam question to find the distance on the greater circle, because I don't want to confuse you, and if I confuse you, it means I've just wasted my time to come and stand in front of you today. You lie. Yes, I lie. I lie too much. Me. I'm telling you. Mumbi. We lie here. At Cashford Tuition Center, we're full of lies. And when we lie too much. Please tap the screen, guys. Thank you very much, Helen, for the likes. So, let's use an exam question. Let's use an exam question. Let me get the other one. So let's look at an exam question. So a person, you are expert, Madam Conversation deserve. You're welcome, Sinkolongo. And thank you for thinking that way. Very beautiful, enjoying from Uganda. Thank you very much, Blacksom, for enjoying from Uganda. Mumbi is saying, we lie at Cashford Tuition Center. We are liars. At Cashford Tuition Center, we don't say the truth. We will simply teach you wrong things, so when you go in the exam, you go and fail, and then we benefit. And so let's look at 2023. 2023 paper 2 as an example. So it is on question 7. The saying, you know, these honey people, or me, from Tanzania, good lesson. Thank you very much. You go live every day. Yes, sometimes when I want to lie to you people. Can I hire you as a teacher? You can inbox me, Titus. I will be very much grateful to work for you and lie to your student. Weak education system. Yes, user. User, you're very much light. Correct. Let me even tag your comment. This is a very important comment, people of God, from user. Oh, I'm tagging using this phone. So user is saying, very weak educational system. Oh my God, why didn't I see this? But I'm gonna live here pausing. Live will end in 1 minute. No. I just want to tag this important comment. Okay, it is here. Where is it? Come in. Where is it? Madam, where is it? What do you have? Eddie. I saw an important comment. What did it? User, what did it comment? Oh, it's here. So people of God, make sure you go and check out this person. Weak education. Yes, we go live every day. Oh, sorry. Man, sometimes I get carried away as well. Later. So I'm saying the points ABC, the points ABC and D are on the surface of the earth. They are on the surface of the earth, and we're saying as shown in shown in the diagram. As shown in the diagram. Oh my God. Then we're saying take pi to be equal to 3.142 and the radius be equal to 6370 in kilometers. Then 3337 is in Newton per miles. And then we have this surface of the earth, this one is having so north, south, and this is 20 degrees west. I'm still gonna peel like one more. Then this is 40 degrees east, and we're saying the points that they have given us. We have the point at A and a point at B. So of A, B. These are sitting on latitudes. This latitude, which is 50 degrees north, and this latitude is at 50 degrees south. And we have this point, which is C, and this point, which is D. So have A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. And 20 degrees west, 50, 40, and 1. Then they are saying, remember this question is having a lot of sub questions, but then we're focusing on calculating distance. So the first one, I'll write the first one because we've talked about the concept and I want us to emphasize on that. So they're saying find the difference. Find the difference in latitudes between A and D. 2 marks. Then the one that I'm interested in now, which is at 2B. So it is saying calculate distance B and C along longitude 40 degrees east. Then it's also having 2 marks. So I've only written the questions that are focusing on what I've explained. And then the other questions that are focusing on other things, I'll explain them as we continue. And so I'm saying this question is coming from 2023, and it's saying the points A, B, C, and D are on the surface of the earth as shown in the diagram. Then they've said take pi to be 3.142 and the radius to be 6370 kilometers. So it is in kilometers. And I said these two things will be given in the water in the exam. Then this is the surface of the earth that we have. And they have said it is having point A, B, C, and D. It is also having, when you look at this latitude, is a latitude at what? 50 degrees north. So meaning point A and B, these, they're sitting on the latitude of 50 degrees north. Then we have these points C and D are sitting on 50 degrees south. This latitude is at 40 degrees east. This latitude is at 20 degrees west. What are they asking us? The first question is saying, find the difference in latitude between A and B. So remember I said when we're finding the difference in latitudes, we're just simply locating on which point is point A sitting on in terms of latitude and longitude first, and on which point is point D sitting on in terms of latitude and longitude. Then from there, we now find the difference. So I'll explain. Let me just turn the camera to that board. But we are still here. So let me just create more room. Is there another interesting comment which I can tag? Any other interesting comment? Hey, now I'll just focus on the teaching. We proceed. Let me just try to move this. There are many losers on TikTok. Many losers on TikTok. So there's the board. For the sake of the grade 10s, I said I will be explaining step by step. And so if they ask you to find the difference in latitude between given points, or the difference in longitude between the given points, what is the first thing that you're going to do? You locate the position of those points. And so since here we're finding A and B, locate the points for A and locate the points for D. So point A is on which latitude and which longitude? So you look at point A, it's here. So it is on latitude 50 degrees north, and this longitude, which is what? 20 degrees west. We did this. So we're saying that point is on 50 degrees north, 20 degrees west. And we have just located the point A. Point D, we do the same thing. Point D, open brackets. It is on which latitude? This, which is simply like what? 50 degrees south. So say 50 degrees south, comma. It is on which longitude? So it is on this longitude, which is what? 20 degrees west. So we have located the points. And the points of A and D. That is just helping me now to find the difference in latitudes. And so when you look at these 2 points, for the sake of the grade 10s, we have 50 degrees north, 20 degrees west, and 50 degrees south, 20 degrees west. Now this west and west, forget about them because they are the same. And so we'll not use these two. Forget about them. We'll focus on these. Why? Because they are the latitudes. They have said we are finding the difference in latitudes. So what are the latitudes? These 2 points. Now remember I said when finding the difference, if we have same hemisphere, meaning if we have north and north, they are going to subtract each other. If you have west, we're talking about the latitudes. So meaning if we have south and south, they're going to subtract in terms of the latitudes. But if we have south and north, they're going to add each other. So when you look at these 2 points, we have 50 degrees north and 50 degrees south, meaning we have north and south. The latitude, we have one which is in the northern hemisphere and the one which is the southern hemisphere. So they are same. What do? We add. So we'll do 50 degrees north plus 50 degrees south, which is equal to what? What is 50 plus 50? 100 degrees. Without putting north or south. And which class, madam? This same class. This madam, And so north and north, these are different hemisphere. So north and south. So north and south, they'll add each other. Why? Because I've said different hemispheres are simply always going to add themselves. But if we had north and north here, they were going to what? Subtract each other. If we had south and south here, they were going to what? Subtract each other. So same hemispheres subtract, different hemisphere add each other. So by so doing, it means we have answered this question and we get 2 marks, which is saying find the difference in latitudes between A and D. And I've emphasized to say your final answer is not going to have either north or south. It will just be a figure in degrees. So any questions just on that one? Any questions just on that one? People, any questions? 5 people to just say clear and I will start explaining what is next. Any questions? Rebecca is saying clear. Yeah. Who is behind? Who is behind? Who is at the back? Coach the official. So we proceed. These people are clear. We're saying B. Question B is saying B and C are long latitude. So this one, because of the board, I didn't try to calculate time. But they're saying we need to calculate the distance between B and C. So calculate the distance between B and C. Calculate the distance between B and C along what? Longitude 40 degrees. So this is the key. If they say longitude, we know we're dealing with the what? The great circles. So where is point B? Point B is this one. Point C is this one. So when you look at these 2 points, they are on the same longitude, which is this line. This line. So because they are on the same longitude, which is 40 degrees east, this same longitude, when we are finding the distance, we use the formula for what? The great circle. Why are we using the formula for the great circle? Because always, when the points are on the same longitude, we are using the great circle. And what is the formula for the great circle? We said that this is simply theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R. Remember, if you don't know where these things are coming from, theta, I said it is a difference in latitudes. In this case, it is a difference in longitudes. And 360 part of the formula. When you look at this, that is the formula for a circumference of the circle. And which circumference? The great circle. So circumference of the great circle is what? 2 pi capital letter R. Circumference of the small circle is 2 pi small letter r, and the cos theta that side. And so now, since we have this thing here, this formula, what does the examiner require you to know? We need to first know what figure am I going to put on theta, what figure am I going to put on pi, or the radius. So in short, you collect the data. And so that theta, when you look at theta, we're saying it is a difference in either longitudes or latitudes. Now, because this is a question which is on great circle, the theta is the difference in what? Latitudes. Why? Because they're sitting on the same longitude. So the difference in their latitude, you have point B and point C. So what is the difference in this latitude and this latitude? So what are we going to do? When calculating the difference, again, I'm wrapping this. When calculating the difference, we locate the points. Again, the theta in the question, the theta is standing for the what? The difference in latitudes. Why? Because these points B and C, these are sitting on the same longitudes, but they're on different latitudes. So meaning our theta is a difference in latitudes. So what do? We locate the points. So we'll start with B. Point B, open bracket, it is on latitude what? 50 degrees north. So 50 degrees north, comma, is on which longitude? This one, which is 40 degrees east. Then again, we locate point what? C, which is this point here. It is on which latitude? This line, which is at 50 degrees south. So point C is at 50 degrees south, comma, it is on which latitude? The same latitude, the same longitude, sorry, which is at 40 degrees east. These are the same. Again, like I said last time, you just forget about them. So our focus is on the latitude. Why? Because our theta in this case is a difference in what? Latitude. So we have north and south. What are we going to do? According to what I explained, what are we going to do? Suppose the points are on different longitude. So if they're on different or engineer is saying, supposing the points that you're given are on different longitude. So meaning we're calculating distance on a small circle. And we're not going to use this formula. But we're using this formula because they're on the same longitude. But if they were different, let's say they told us to find this one and this one. This longitude and this one are different. So we use the formula for small circle. We are using the one for great circle because it is B and C, which are on the same longitude. Olivia is saying we add. Yes, so we're adding. So different north and south, we simply what? Add the points. So it will be 50 plus 50, which is what? 100 degrees. Meaning that is our theta. So our theta is what? 100 degrees. Then what is our pi? Our pi is given in the question. They're saying pi is equal to 3.142. So say 3.142. Then what is the radius? They're saying in kilometers, which is 6370. So meaning the radius is 6370. So what are we going to do? Let me move the formula on top. So we do that. So I'm saying the formula was theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R. So just start substituting what we have collected as what? Data. So on theta we're putting what? 100. So it will be 100 over this 360 times 2, which is this 2, times, what is the pi? 3.142. So 3.142. Is it visible that side? I continue writing 3.142. You tell me, times the radius. The radius is this one, 6370. So 6370. I don't know if it is visible. No, 6370 is not showing. Let me just twist the camera like this. Because I've already copied the question, I don't think it is important. So just move it like that. It is visible now, okay? I'm sure it is visible. So this part is visible now because the other phone is showing that it is visible. Meaning even if it is visible. Rebecca is saying no. Okay, yes. Yes, yes. So I've done that. We've just substituted our data. So I want to make use of the board. I've just rubbed off this. So what is going to happen next? Now in the exam, because this is mathematics paper 2 and you're required to show your working, and some of us make a mistake by simply punching all this on the calculator, which will mostly give you math error. Calculator it will write what? Math error. If you try and do everything at once. So what I advise, because me I lie too much at Cash for Tuition Center, what I advise you is to multiply everything that is on top. You write down the figure, divide by 360. So what do I mean? We're going to punch, because it is dark today, I can't come that side. We're going to punch 100 times 2 times 3.142 times 6370. So say 100 multiplied by 2 multiplied. You can comment the answer for those that are following through. transpose this side. Oh, how? It's just my network. Is there no equal sign in distance notation to what? Equate to the calculation. Oh, he's asking, is there no equal sign? We're calculating distance BC. So if you want to put the equal sign, it's just BC is equal to the same thing that we have written, theta over 360 times 2 pi r. So if you want to equate the equal sign that you're looking for, it is BC is equal to that. So even here you can write BC is equal to that. Fine. Yes. I hope I've answered your question. So those that are using a calculator, we're saying we're punching that. So saying 100 times 2 times 3.142 times 6370. For me, it's giving me 4,002,908, which will be divided by what? 360. Then the same answer, I'll just press divide by, then I press equal to. So it's a 4,002, then 908 divided by 360, which is giving me 1119.18889. So therefore, our BC is equal to, so we can round off either to significant figures, meaning we forget about the points, or to one significant figure. And so just round off to significant figures, meaning these whole numbers minus the point. So say 1, 1, then 1. Since this is a 9, it will change that 1 to a 2. And this same 9 will change to 0 kilometers. Or if someone writes 1119.1 kilometers, 0.2 kilometers, they will be correct. This is rounded off to 1 decimal place. This is to a complete whole number. Fine. Yes, Helen also got the same figure, engineer got the same figure, and yeah. Any other question? Any other question? We look at another exam question. I'm sure we're done with that one. We're done with that one. So let's look at another exam question involving calculation of distance along the great circles. And I've said along the great circles, the formula is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. You find the difference in the latitude, which you substitute on the theta. Then apart from that, you also do away by simply multiplication, multiplying the top figures, and then the bottom figures you divide after. So we get back to this point, and we're going to have another question. What am I doing? I'm going to have another question because this is 2114. So let's look at the question where we're required to draw the surface of the earth, and then we deal with the calculations. Totally different from the one that we had. So we have 2024 paper 2 GCE, which is saying the points P, open bracket, 80 degrees north, 50 degrees west, close bracket. Then we have Q is on points 80 degrees north and 80 degrees east. Then point R is on 50 degrees north, 80 degrees east. Then 80 degrees east, and T is on 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. The same are on the surface of the earth. On the surface of the earth, then we're saying yeah. On the surface of the earth, take pi, which is 3.142, and radius, which is equal to 63 70 kilometers. Then question 1 is saying draw a skeleton. Draw a sketch. Draw a sketch. It's the same skeleton. Yeah. Draw a sketch. To represent the above information. Then the above information, 2 marks. And then 2 is saying calculate what? Calculate, there is distance QR and distance RT. So figure out which one is in the great circle and the small circle. So I'll just write them both, because we have not answered. So saying A, calculate distance QR along longitude along longitude 80 degrees east in kilometers. So this is the same one which is on the great circle. The other one is saying calculate distance RT along latitude 50 degrees north. Let me copy it also. Just one double. Calculate RT along latitude 50 degrees north in kilometers as well. And we're having 2 marks. So that is an exam question which came under GCE. Are you there? Okay. 1. I don't understand your language. You can't round off to less than 5. Yeah, you can't round off less than 5. Wow. The way I'm doing learning part, the school is in Copper Belt, Kocha Kitwe specifically. Copper Belt. So that is the question. I put the phone in charge. I think I have black. Ooh. Like, what's going on? What's happening? So those that are copying the question, you can copy the question, but I'm going to tweak the camera to the other session, the other part. Hi. So let's do that. Let me move this here, because we're going to be using that part. Yeah, like that. That will be enough. So I'm saying the question is, the question which came for these guys was not having the water, a drawn diagram. Meaning, it is up to you to copy the diagram. And Helen is done copying. Thank you very much. So I'm saying the point P is at 80 degrees north, 50 degrees west. And Q is on 80 degrees north and 80 degrees west. Point R is on 50 degrees north and 80 degrees east. And point T is at 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. Then we're saying these are points on the surface of the Earth. Take pi to be 3.142 and radius to be 6370 kilometers. Then the first question is saying, draw a skeleton. Why is a skeleton in my head? Draw a sketch to represent the above information. So draw a sketch to represent this above information that they've written there. So meaning they're asking you to draw the surface of the Earth and show each given point. So what is the first thing that we're going to do? We'll draw the surface of the Earth. Fine. The surface of the Earth is this. That is the first step. Why? Because they're saying draw a sketch to represent the above information. And the sketch, the key is the surface of the Earth, which is that which we have drawn. Now when you look at the surface of the Earth, remember, we use the points as a guide, which they've given us in order for us to come up with the points. But before, anytime you're given such a question, I prefer you put in the 2 points which are at 0 degrees, which is simply the Greenwich meridian and the equator. This is not a mandate that you're going to put them in. I just put them in so they help me specifically to draw a very It's an accurate diagram. And so put in the equator. This line I said is the equator. It is at 0 degrees. It divides the Earth into what parts? The northern side and the southern side. Meaning, even if I come and look at the points that have been given, I'll know if they say 80 degrees north, meaning it is the point that is on that part. If they say it is, this north, it is on that part. If they said south, I'll know it is on this part. And then, we've also been given what? West and east. If you have a slow mind like me, indicate by putting in the Greenwich meridian, which is just simply a line that divides those two parts into the west part as well as the east part. This one is also at 0 degrees. If you want, don't put in the 2 lines, but they just help me to simply know exactly what I'm dealing with. So what is going to happen? The first point, the same point P, is on latitude 80 degrees north and 50 degrees west. So meaning we have the latitude which is on this hemisphere. So let's say I put it here. This latitude is at what? 80 degrees north. And then they're also saying longitude 50 degrees west. So meaning I'll not make a mistake of drawing this line this side. This one is on the eastern part. So they're saying west. So meaning I'll draw a line which is going what? This way. That's why I was saying the 2 lines are just helping me to know specifically where the lines are going. So when you look at that point, where these 2 are meeting, that is where point P is. Right? So meaning our point P is here. Why? Because it is at 80 degrees north, 80 degrees north, and longitude what? 50 degrees west. So meaning this line that I've drawn is at 50 degrees west. So I've shown point what? P. So that is where point P is. Anyone who's behind just there, go and sleep. Yes, I'm going to sleep very soon. So that is point what? P. In fact, I don't sleep this time. I'll be having a class at 23. At 3:40. Not on TikTok though. So I'm saying point P is on latitude 80 degrees north and longitude 50 degrees west. Let's look at point Q. Point Q is also on 80 degrees north, so meaning it is on this same line, 80 degrees north, but 80 degrees east. So meaning this line is passing on the eastern hemisphere. So it will be this line. Where are they meeting? They're meeting here. So meaning that is where we're finding our point Q. So here, that is where Q is. Why is it there? Point Q is on 80 degrees north, 80 degrees north, and 80 degrees east. 80 degrees east. So meaning this line is what? 80 degrees east. The next point, without wasting time, we have 50 degrees north and 80 degrees east. 50 degrees north, so we don't have any latitude which is showing 50 degrees north, so we're going to draw it. It is on the northern part, so this part. So I'll draw this line. And this latitude is at 50 degrees north. So point R is at 50 degrees north, which is this latitude that I've drawn here. And it is on which longitude? 80 degrees east. 80 degrees east. So this longitude is what? 80 degrees east. So our pointer R is here. Point R is here, which is 50 degrees north and 80 degrees east. So I've drawn it. Then the last point is point T. Point T, they're saying it is at 50 degrees north, so meaning it is on this same latitude, 50 degrees north, and what? 50 degrees west. So we don't have this line here, we only have 80. 50 degrees west, yes. So 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. So it is on 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. So it is here. That is where our point what? T is. Fine. Our point T. So our point T, which is at 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. So it is there. So if you draw this in the exam, you're having how many marks? 2 marks. They said draw the surface of the earth or draw the sketch representing the above point. 2 marks. So we have drawn that. Then the 2 marks is what? Hours. I enjoy your lesson from Kenya. I teach mathematics at senior school. Wonderful. The professor or le professor, thank you very much from watching. Mama, I need so much about professor. Thank you very much for watching me all the way from Kenya. All the points are on the northern hemisphere. Yes, engineer, because that is what they have given us. So point R is on 80 degrees north, which is in the northern hemisphere. Point Q is also on 80 degrees north, which is in the northern hemisphere. Point R is also on 50 degrees north, 50 degrees north. So the question was having all the points in the what? Northern hemisphere. So there are no points in the southern hemisphere. You just leave it like this. Hey. Any other question? Easy. Any other questions? Repeat, please. Elena, I repeat on what? I repeat on what? Where are you lacking behind? Which needs me to repeat on. So any questions, people, just on where we have ended. Where we have reached. Nana, thank you very much for the share. I appreciate very much. So the next question is simply asking us to do what? Calculate QR along longitude 80 degrees in kilometers. So QR, which is what I've explained today. points on the same longitude. So RT is on the small circle. We'll get into it after. But I was explaining points on the same longitude, which is simply the great circle. So they're saying calculate QR along longitude 80 degrees in kilometers. So along longitude 80 degrees east in kilometers. So which line is that one? It's this line. It's no different. So it's this line, this longitude here, this one. This one is longitude what? 80 degrees east. So we have point Q, which is this point here, and point R, which is here. And I said if we're calculating distance along these 2 points, you're saying calculate distance along this longitude of 80 degrees east. So I was emphasizing last time or before that when they are on the same longitude, it means that we're calculating points that are falling under the great circle. And if they're falling under the great circle, the formula still stands to say the distance that you're looking for is equal to theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R. This is the formula that will maintain. Since we're looking for point QR, so the person was asking what are we going to equate that to? So say point QR, we're looking for QR is equal to theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R. Why are we using this formula? This is because these points are on the great circle, or they are on the same longitude. So if they are on the same longitude, the formula is still this one. So the first thing we do, we collect data. The data, we need to find the theta, we need to find the pi, and we need to find the radius. So remember we said the theta is a difference in what? The difference in what? Latitude. Natural. The theta is the difference in latitude. I enjoy your class from Nigeria. Thank you very much for enjoying the class from Nigeria. I appreciate Felix. Thank you very much. So I'm saying our theta is a difference in latitude. Why are we saying latitude? This is because this point Q and point R are seated on different latitudes. This one is on latitude 50 degrees north. This one is on latitude 80 degrees north. So what do we do? For the sake of the great tens, you simply find the points. So say point Q is simply on what? Latitude 80 degrees north. If you don't know what I mean by saying they're seated on the same point or whatever, let me move the camera again that side because I've already copied the question. So here. So if you don't know what we mean by saying they're on the same longitude, you just simply collect the water, the points. So Q, we're saying this Q, you locate the point, it is on latitude 80 degrees north, comma, this longitude, which is what? 80 degrees east. Then point R is on what? This point R is on latitude 50 degrees north, comma, longitude, which is the same, 80 degrees east. So when you look at those, east and east are the same longitude, 80 degrees. So we just forget about this. Our focus is on the latitudes. So I have 80 degrees north and 50 degrees north. And I emphasized, if the same hemispheres, we subtract. The different hemispheres, we add. So here we are having north and north, meaning we subtract 80 minus 50. So 80 minus 50 is giving us what in the comments? Engineer is saying yes, 80 minus 50. So what is 80 minus 50? 80 minus 50, quickly. 80 minus 50 is 50. 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 30, yes. So 30. So meaning our theta is what? 30. In the question, our theta is 30 degrees. What is the pi? Pi were given in the question, those that are copied, it's 3.142. The radius were given in kilometers, 70 kilometers. What is next? We just simply substitute those figures in our formula. Fine. You get some pieces of chalk. Some pieces of chalk. Let's chalk in the field. So we're saying this same formula, we're saying theta is equal to theta. We're saying point QR, or the distance QR, is equal to theta over 360 times 2 pi capital letter R. Then what is next? We substitute. So point QR is equal to, what is the theta? This one, the difference, which is what? 30 degrees. So say 30 over 360 times 2. The pi is what? 3.142. So say times 3.142 times the radius. The radius is what? 6370. So 6370. Then what is next? We punch the top figures on the calculator. So say QR is equal to, punch this on the calculator, you write your answer, then you divide by 360. If you punch it direct on the calculator, you get wrong figures. So engineers already found the answer. Yes. Comfort saying 30, yes. So 30 was the theta. Then we're saying let's punch that on the calculator, and I hope we get the same figure. So we're saying 30, which is this 30, times 2. 30 times 2 times 3.142 times 3.142 times 6370 times 6370. So it has given me a figure. Has it given you the same figure? The network was very bad. Trying to watch the video since I started. Hey, sorry. Sorry about your network. Sorry. So saying for me, after I punch this on the calculator, it's giving me 12087.2.4. Then we divide that by what? 360. And we say QR is equal to, so have we found the same figure, the same top figure? For people have already divided. Okay, so we divide that by 360, which is giving me 3335. So yes, 3335.75667. Then round off to what? Those that have rounded off to a whole number, those that have rounded off to a decimal place, and as well as sleeping in class. So the same, it will be 3335 pointer. If you have rounded off to one significant figure, that will be 6. If you have rounded off to two significant figures, meaning you are leaving two numbers this side, it will be 7.6. If it is three significant figures, this will be 757. So we're rounding off to two significant figures, so say 76 kilometers. If you have rounded it off to a whole number, this whole number, what you're going to write is simply what? 3, then 4, what? 40. Or 3336. It is fine. Remember, F geometry, I'm giving you different figures depending on what you I've rounded off. But it is advisable if the examiner has not said, you round off to 2 significant figures. Aye. The examiner has not ever said you round off to 2 significant figures. Elena, yes, you're correct. You're sleeping in class. Who's sleeping in class? Why are you sleeping? Do not sleep. So meaning at this point today, if someone asks you or gives you a question, they give you the surface of the earth and they ask you to find PT. Are you going to use this formula? They ask you to find PT. Are we going to use this formula? This PT. Are we going to use this formula? Yes or no? It's just a matter of yes or no. If they ask you to find the distance PT, are we going to use this formula? Yes. The professor, are you sure? Martha is saying no. Yes. Baby is also saying no. Yes. Yes, but with the small radius. So that is the key. That is the key. So the ladies have understood. When it is a small circle, when they say PQ, we will not use this formula for today, the formula that I've given today, which is of the great circle. Yes, I know there's calculating the small circle, but I was trying to see if you have understood the concept of the great circle. Only points that are seated on the same longitude will use this formula. So meaning these are on the small circle. We will not use this formula. This formula, which is just ending with 2 pi, capital letter R. Aye. But what if they ask you to find PT? PT. PT. Are we going to use that formula? Me, I'm blank. I think you came late. You came late. Helen, consider. Yes, we want to put that one for you. So Rebecca is saying yes, Dan is saying yes, Virginia yes, Mimi yes, Helen yes. So yes, they are on the same water, same longitude, which is this line. So PT will use the water, this formula. So that is your homework. If you find the answer, just text me the answer on WhatsApp, showing you're working, which is simply on 0966 55 98 37. That is the homework. Aye. Those that are outside the country plus 26. And for today, because this is 21 to 22 and I'm having a class at 23 for chemistry. When are we having it geometry again? Very soon, depends on the mood again. So, like I said, so for today, we end on calculating the distance on the great circle, then also finding the difference in latitudes, and also locating points and drawing the water, the earth surface. And the next time we meet, I'm going to explain how you can calculate that over the small circle and the formula and how to apply the formula. Then from there, I will look at time calculations. From there, I will look at what is going to follow. Which country are you? I am in Zambia. Zambia Kitwe Copper Belt. I'm in Zambia. Thank you so much for the lessons. You're welcome for the lesson. Thanks, baby. You're welcome. Which number is that, please? The same number on the board. Some number plus 26, 0966597. If you can't see the number, it is simply on the page, the Cashford Academy account. So the number is there. You can find it and then you can make use of it. Chemistry isn't live also. Yes, chemistry I'm not going to teach live because I'll be teaching that lady. I'm sure she's also part of the live right now. So she's writing chemistry and physics. Then she has paid for the lessons. So we're having a class at 23. Great. I hear of Zambia. I will visit your country. Alright. Visitors from Kenya, coming to Zambia. We really appreciate. But otherwise, people, thank you very much for the 13.2k likes, and thank you very much for the for the 49 shares. And thank you very much for staying tuned until the end of the lesson itself. And I hope whatever you have learned, you're not going to forget. And I hope to see you next time when we're going to have a lesson itself. So go and try out the question that I've simply given. You try to answer. Then when you try to answer, you can mark yourself or you can send the question and I'll help you to mark. You're welcome. How much per subject? Very expensive, 150. When will next session in math be? So it depends on the mood. Thank you for the lesson. You're welcome. The subject I teach depends on the mood. If I wake up in the mood of mathematics, we learn mathematics. If I wake up on the mood of biology, we do biology. If it is chemistry, chemistry. If it's physics, physics. If it's English, English. So for today, see you people. This is 21:48. 46. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. I would